Hello?
Merry
Hello?
Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the Grinch here with Santa Claus.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
Hello?
Merry
Hello?
Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the Grinch here with Santa Claus. What's up, Santa?
I just came back from delivering all the gifts.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully I didn't steal too many.
Nope. Only from the naughty list.
Exactly. All the coal. All for me. All the garbage. Yummy. Yummy. Anyways. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Misfit Podcast.
Yes. Today is a special day.
Yes.
And that's because it's Anime of the Month.
Yeah, baby. Last December of the year, Christmas, Anime of the Month, not too shabby.
Yeah, knocking off a lot of things off the list at once.
Exactly. Easy peasy.
And
lemon
we just so
squeezy.
happened to watch what is probably the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Is that what the kids are calling it?
That's what we're calling it.
That's what we're calling it.
But yeah, if you're new around here, one, we don't always look like this.
True that, true that.
It's a special day.
Special day.
Second, this is our longest? No, you said, yeah, it's our longest.
No, it's our it's 12 episodes. So I think it officially becomes our longest right now.
Longest running series
So-
of Anime of the Month.
That's another thing for this day.
So if you're new around here, we do an Anime of the Month every month, and we do have a Discord where we chat it up with our fellow nerdy misfits and cover just
That's you
Honestly,
babies.
whatever we're feeling like. Sometimes it's old, sometimes it's new.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of things that I randomly find that.
Yeah, and we give
Fair
our
enough.
old little, I guess, review of it, if you
Exactly.
will. And then we move on to the next month.
Exactly. So if you're looking to see what we all watched in 2024, stay tuned for in 2 or 3 weeks, one of them, we're doing a ranking tier list of all the ones we've watched over the year 2024. So if you want to watch that, stay tuned, I guess.
Stay tuned for sure. And
Very-
time to catch up. If you
It
want
is
to
true.
watch all of them,
It is true.
you've got time.
Yes.
Got time. But yeah, so we are dressed in Christmas attire because obviously it's Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. Also, Happy New Year. But you'll also see us on New Year. So
Yeah, we'll be there. Hush, hush.
the Nerdy Misfits always there for
Never
you.
miss a Wednesday.
But yeah, we also did a Christmas themed movie, which was
harder to find, for
hard
sure.
to find. Which honestly, I'd say worth the wait or worth the. It's is a very good film and actually is, I guess, encompasses the meaning of Christmas in a lot of ways.
I would think so, yeah.
So, without further ado, if you are unaware, there will be spoilers ahead because
Yes.
we are talking about the anime as a whole, and that anime is Tokyo Godfathers.
Yes, aired back in November of 2023, which is 21 years ago.
You wouldn't guess it though, based
No.
on
No,
the
gosh,
animation
no.
and how it looks, but yeah.
Obviously, the episode count is 1 because it's a movie. Studio is Madhouse. Shout out to Madhouse.
Great studio.
Always great.
That was when they were hardcore cooking. Too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The genre is comedy and drama. And then the My Anime List score is sitting at an 8.28 based on 151,493 users. And yeah, I'll give you a quick little synopsis here so you kind of know what we're talking about here. So yeah, one Christmas Eve, Hana, Jin, and Miyuki are rummaging for presents through heaps of garbage when they chance upon an abandoned baby in the cold winter night. Appalled at the pitiful sight, Hana's maternal instincts kick in and she insists on finding the baby's biological mother to demand an explanation. Naming the baby Kyoko, meaning pure child, they begin their search using the possible clues left alongside her, a mysterious key and a single note. However, their plans are soon thrown in disarray as they get caught up in a series of unprecedented events. Tokyo Godfathers follows the journey of a trio as they stick together through thick and thin, hoping to deliver Kyoko to her true home and find their very own Christmas miracle. And then the movie was co-written and directed by Satoshi Kon, whose Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress have been among the best received and most popular anime films in the past.
Yes. Very large anime director. For
Have you
sure.
seen any of his other films before, or is this your first one
I've seen
Satoshi?
some of his anime episodes he's done.
Okay.
I have been wanting to see a lot of his works. Like I have Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, Paprika. I have all of them on my watch list. I'm actually, after seeing this, I'm even more tempted to go, because I have some time off of work,
Yeah.
tempted to go watch those series because they're just movies, right? So they're a lot easier to go through. So might be going through them over the next week and a half.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess we'll dive into initial thoughts. What did you think, Grinch/Matt?
Initial thoughts. I didn't know anything going into this film outside of the description that I literally just read, because we read them all for the Anime of the Month episodes. However, I found this film to be very well done. It introduced 3 characters that had interesting and fun chemistry together.
Yeah, great chemistry.
The classic I hate you but I love you kind of situation, in the sense of like they're annoyed with each other, but they're a family and they kind of stick together, even though they're not blood related, you know?
For sure.
The story developed in a way that made you feel for the characters, but also put you in a spot where you can't trust them in the way that they're unreliable narrators, which is a term that's like you're following somebody in a movie or a book or something, but they're lying about stuff, and you can't
which made them all interesting in their own
Exactly,
way. You
yeah.
wanted to know
what secrets they
what
were
was going on.
hiding.
Why are they homeless? What has caused them to end up in this spot of life?
Exactly. And what I found super interesting is the fact that all 3 characters had good, solid character development through the story. Like, I feel like equally all 3 of them got character development, not one outshined the other, kind of thing like that. Like, they all had their time in the spotlight.
And it didn't feel too unnatural.
Agreed.
Yeah. I guess for me, obviously similar. Didn't really know too much going on. I feel like for the most part, that's how we feel for a majority of the anime we've chosen. I think a select few we've maybe had a little bit more, like Haikyuu, obviously I've seen before and I've read the manga.
Yeah.
But overall, it was really, it's hard to, like, it had good humor, but then also had like some really hard-hitting moments, and it did a really good job of blending those
Agreed.
moments as well. Feels ahead of its time in a lot of ways. Obviously, the animation and just the aesthetic really holds up. The characters were all very interesting. You wanted to get to know them more. Really enjoyed following them. It's also, one thing is, how often have you seen homeless people in anime?
I mean, not being the initial characters for sure. We see them rarely here and there.
But even rarely as
character.
yeah. Usually, I'd say there may be a person's a little bit off, loopy, crazy, and one-off thing. Hardly ever even see them, let alone get to know who they are.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'd say following a marginalized group that is not often seen in anime at all was unique.
I would agree with that for sure. I think what's the word I'm looking for? I think it was not ballsy. That's not the term I'm looking for. Impressive that you can create a story with 3 homeless people and have this success. Like,
and have everyone care about everyone.
Exactly, you know, like, and you feel for these people that are homeless, you know.
But in almost not like, it doesn't make you completely feel bad. You sympathize with a lot of them, but then when you start learning about why they're there, maybe parts of it, you're like, okay, well, what are you going to do to make it better? You almost are like, well, what are you going to change? Like, what's the change? Obviously, certain of them have different things that they can or cannot change. One is more of your stereotypical, I'm a drunk, I'm a kind of a deadbeat, and you're like, okay, well, what do you need to change? And then you got someone who isn't accepted. And then you have one that I guess you could argue just is scared.
Definitely.
And they're just scared to return home. But without diving too deep, let's first discuss some major things in terms of the anime. How'd you feel about the art style, the character design, and the animation as a whole?
I thought the art style was really well done. I thought the buildings looked very well done. This is also a part of Tokyo I feel like we don't see.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's a big thing, because a lot of anime films, specifically when we're talking about it taking place in Tokyo, it's always like the fancy, the high end Tokyo. This felt very residential,
Mm-hmm.
down to earth. Like not all the fancy, rich people are going to be in this area. So I thought that was really done. Like the environment itself, the atmosphere. I thought each character had its own individuality. Like all characters, even supporting characters, characters in the background, all looked drastically different.
Yes.
Nothing looked too the same in comparison to some animes we've seen earlier this year for the anime month. Some characters don't even have faces.
But that's
Though
also
that
a
was a stylistic choice for that particular anime.
yeah, that's a common thing, right?
But
Lower budget, you can't draw every face.
no,
and
for sure.
reaction.
Yeah. And the animation, I thought the animation was solid. Like I said, the buildings look good. Atmosphere is well kept. Nothing jarring or felt out of place from what I can remember of watching it.
Agreed. Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like it was very timeless. It feels like you could show someone this movie now, and I don't think they would really say it's old. Like maybe they'd say like, "Oh, is this like 4 or 5 years old?" Like it does not
They're not going to think
come
20
off
years.
as a 2003 movie
For sure.
and it's different too. It's unique. It's not like a Studio Ghibli film or something like that. It has its own like style to it. You can kind of tell that maybe obviously the it wasn't up to film quality per se, but that's almost what gives it more of that aesthetic that almost fits into the more rural or the societal part of Tokyo that you don't often see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought the colors were also really well used. And just scrolling through my notes. And yeah, I didn't notice anything negative going through the animation. I thought the character designs were all really well done. And you know, in Japan they celebrate Christmas, but not so much the religious aspect of Christmas, right? It's like you see, and this is the thing, when we were looking for an anime to celebrate Christmas with, sure, there's a lot of anime that have a Christmas episode. Oh, this is what we did over Christmas break, or like, we got to do a Christmas festival at school, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it was really nice to see one that took place over the Christmas time and really did hit home with a lot of what Christmas means to a lot of people, right? Family, miracles, right? If you're thinking about more of the Christian side of things, it did hit on a lot of notes from what Christmas truly is, and I thought that was a very beautiful thing. Getting into the music and OST, I will say I don't really have any notes on it because I didn't find it to be overly
memorable.
Yeah, it didn't really stand out, but I think this is more of a not as a negative, more as of everything fit, everything felt good.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like that really spoke to me or like stood out to me, I guess.
That's fair.
Would you say that's
I would agree. I have was fine overall. Music felt maybe misplaced in certain scenes, but nothing really felt memorable. Nothing was too jarring in the music atmosphere. Yeah, I mean the credit song was good. It was cute. A little slowed down, a little, But yeah, moving on to plot and characters. So sorry. Let's go through plot first.
Yeah, so I guess generally if we want to put it to a very simplistic thing is we have our 3 main characters who are homeless. Mm-hmm. They find a baby while dumpster diving, essentially. A baby that's left behind. And then they decide that they're going to find the baby's parents, reunite it with it, also give that parent potentially a good, what the heck are you doing? Can't throw a baby in the garbage. And throughout this time of finding the parent, we learn about all 3 characters, how they ended up together, what happened in their life that led to them being homeless. But also we see a lot of Tokyo, and we see a lot of ups and downs of, and this is the thing, this movie covers family, but almost in not necessarily good light.
No.
That there's a lot of bad that happens in family as well. It's not all hunky-dory, right?
I think Without going into too much detail, because of the way family is portrayed in this, because we have we have the origin of the three families of the three people that we follow.
Yep.
We have the fact that this little person named Kyoku doesn't have a family because they've been dumpstized. And the other big part that we see about family is when the two supporting characters are getting married, and you see that it's a terrible, toxic.
Yep.
So like that again, right there is family. And what's interesting about this film is you show all those, and then there's an underline that they don't full on discuss about how sometimes when you have no family, you kind of make your family through friends.
Yeah, you don't have to be related to be family.
Exactly.
It's about the people that
Care about
you and are there for you.
And you see it even when Jin, when he like gets away from them, and then he gets beaten, and they're worried about them, and he goes to try and they go to try and find him, and vice versa. And like even though he wasn't with Kyoko the entire time, Jin was still worried about that child actively, you know.
Absolutely.
And even like when Miyazuki was like kidnapped in quotations with the baby and stuff too, and like even a character that barely spoke English or Japanese, I guess. Wait.
Yeah. That did you find that very random?
Insanely random.
I thought that was a bit random. Yeah, go on though.
Like that is the only part I think in the entire film that you see a healthy family in a way.
Yep.
And it's ironic because they're so out of place. But I think that was almost intentional in a way.
In a way, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, I wrote down like I really enjoyed the way, and without being super repetitive, that we kind of did go through each of the characters, how they ended up there. I guess we'll get into Jin is drunken deadbeat, addicted to gambling. Talks about how he lost all his money at
and his family.
And then we have Hana, who is a trans woman and former drag queen who never felt accepted and loved by her loved ones and ran away from her home. She used to work at a drag bar. Reason she left that was because she was fired because of a big incident that happened once from a rude customer, essentially. And then we have Miyuki, who's a teenage runaway whose family actually does want her back, despite a very large family fight that honestly
was so blown out of proportion.
Yeah, when,
My gosh.
When I was shown the reason, I was a bit like, okay, sure.
Yeah, right.
But despite that, her parents still want her back and work things out, and she's just a little bit scared to return, to be honest. But yeah, I thought the three main characters were fantastic. I even liked, like you mentioned, the side characters of the other homeless communities they ended up interacting with, as well as the what would we call them? The Yakuza members that they meet. They were also very interesting. Like they also fed into the dynamic of family in a different way. Like Yakuza is its own family, and you have to respect the higher ups, and it was interesting.
I'd agree with that. I think personally, like the plot kept moving forward. The plot showcases your cliche Christmas tropes of hope, family, happiness around the Christmas season, etc. Miracles, obviously. The story relies on coincidences, which in a way both makes the story enjoyable, helps moving the plot forward for sure. It's not really a negative. Like I feel like people can definitely be like, "Wow, another coincidence." Like, of course, right?
I feel like,
but
the whole story starts on a coincidence.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
But
I want a child. Well, you can't have a child. Boom, here's a child.
But they're dumpster diving
Exactly.
because they're homeless people. Like it's like there's reasons for it at the same time, right?
I 100% agree.
I find it very hard to find something super negative in this film specifically, to be honest.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to be like, oh yeah, no, I didn't like this particular part of the movie. Because like all the supporting characters got screen time, their equal amount of screen time.
The humor felt good, well timed.
Definitely chuckled a few times.
But it didn't take away from how serious the story was at times as well.
Yeah, each main character had their own, like I said, they had their own time in the spotlight. They grew as a character. Yeah, I enjoyed the ending even.
Yeah. Also for a 2003 film, Hana is treated pretty well.
Yeah.
There were still obviously some jokes that were in a more of a poor taste in terms of her being like kind of the butt of a joke, but not as often as you would expect. And she wasn't
being 2003 as well.
And she wasn't put inside like this stereotypical box of making fun of. Like, she was a very complex character, had a lot going on, and like we mentioned, like her two family members at this point, they don't care who she is.
Yeah, exactly.
They accept her for who she is. They just kind of, honestly, I would say the jokes were more offensive to just women.
Yeah.
Because they treated her like she was a woman, and so they acted like, like she was being too dramatic or too, like, and I find that was more towards being like an airhead, towards being a woman as opposed to a trans woman, which, not saying this is right, but, they were treating her as if they were treating a woman, which maybe, that's also bad, but.
Yeah.
But for 2003, I thought it was pretty ahead on
I'd agree with that for sure.
The trans women thing.
Yeah. Any other positives you want to mention?
Positives, yeah. Heartwarming. Obviously the characters. I really, like I mentioned before, but yeah, really enjoy the animation, the aesthetic of the movie in general.
Yeah.
Would totally recommend
definitely
to watch, and throw it in your Christmas rotation. Honestly, if you're a big Christmas film person,
couple boob shops
between your Santa Claus
or discussion, couple boob shops
between your Santa Claus and your Grinch.
Yeah,
you throw this right in there.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's good animated. I think it, like you said, like we've discussed already, like tackles good issues. Really good movie, especially for 2003. If you're an anime fan, give it a watch. If you're a Christmas fan, give it a watch. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts you'd like to say? What would you rate it?
I put it as an 8 on my anime list. I almost put it as a 9, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I'd say I'm right up
like
there. 8.5.
Like 8.5-ish area,
It super enjoyable, makes you laugh, makes you sad, makes you kind of feel that warm fuzziness that you want to feel in films as well. Also gets you really invested with some amazing characters. And I will say the ending did feel a bit like, I almost wanted more.
Yeah, right?
Like I just wanted to see, I felt like the ending, we didn't get that resolution that we were hoping for with the daughter.
Yeah.
I really would have loved to see what happened with her. Or
like this is the one time that I've been like, I'd love a post-credit scene.
Because we see Jin meet his daughter, and I feel like,
which is such a good scene, by the way.
There was a bit of reconcile there. You
Yeah.
know? Like he apologized. She was like, "Come back." Like,
yeah.
That was a beautiful scene with his daughter for
Very
sure.
well done.
And Hana was hilarious when she like comes in. She's like,
"What do you mean?"
She like popped off because she learned that he was he was very big on exaggerating his issues.
Yeah.
But wow, it was beautiful.
I want to toss in this little fun fact that I found about this movie.
Yeah, take
I already
her
sent
away.
it to you. So this movie, Tokyo Godfathers, came out in 2003. The director of Tokyo Godfathers was inspired by a 1948 American Western film called Three Godfathers, which is a loose retelling of a biblical Three Wise Men story. And Three Godfathers is a remake of the black and white film Hell's Heroes, which Hell Heroes is a screen adaptation of Peter B. Kyne's 1913 novel called The Three Godfathers. So this anime film was inspired by a 1948 Western film, which is inspired by a biblical story and is also a remake of a black and white film, which is in fact a screen adaptation of a novel.
Cheers to that.
Hey, man. And cheers to you, listeners. Woohoo!
But yeah, it was I mean, if you can't really find anything negative to say, it's probably a pretty enjoyable film.
Pretty
I will
enjoyable
say
film for sure.
some stuff it does come off as a bit chaotic, but that almost makes it more fun.
Yeah, I think it adds to the story for sure.
Because I watched it with a few people, and I think we all were having fun for different reasons. Perhaps some of us are more like WTF laughing, some of us are just laughing, and some of us are like, what the heck is happening, laughing.
Yeah.
But it was really good. And with that said, actually, we have a
jump
special
on over to
Yes.
our Nerdy Misfit Gaming folks. Let's give them the mic quick, and they're going to talk briefly about their thoughts on the movies, and then we'll jump back right here. So
see you soon.
See you soon.
Hello, everyone. This is Troy here, and these are my thoughts on the movie Tokyo Godfathers for the December anime of the month. So these are my thoughts that are coming from someone who is starting to branch into anime shows and movies that are not from the main set of shows like your Naruto's or your Attack on Titan, kind of etc. etc. So Tokyo Godfathers is a nice little movie where it felt like your plots were kind of twisting quite often. It definitely felt like if they could throw in a little plot twist here or there, or some huge surprise that you just were not expecting, it seemed like they did that. So this movie, you are joining kind of two homeless people on a journey as they find a baby that was abandoned in a dumpster. So attached to the baby was a note, or kind of tucked away beside the baby was a note that kind of gave some clues as to who the parents were. The two homeless people kind of argue where Jin wants to go kind of straight to the police. It's not our problem. Doesn't want to do anything with the baby, while Hannah wants to find the parents herself and return the baby after she gives the parents a good scolding too. So after kind of some ups and downs, they ended up deciding together that they would go back to try and find the parents themselves. I like when you kind of don't fully know kind of the way that it's going to go. Like I said at the beginning, those plot twists where you thought it was going to go one way, and it kind of just completely flips, or the little twists and things. I like that. Kind of keeps it a little fresh. I'm not a fan of when the plot is kind of very easily predicted or predictable. But it's a nice little Christmas movie, feel good Christmas movie that kind of takes over Christmas time. There wasn't really anything that I really disliked from the movie. It's, even though it's not really a movie that I would have watched on my own, I did enjoy it a lot more than I thought. I would say I would give it probably a 7 out of 10. For it being a little bit of an older movie, released in 2003. I thought the animations were pretty good. The sound was good. We did watch it in subbed, so I thought, to me, the voice acting kind of worked together. Nothing out of this world, but overall I'd say it's a pretty good movie. So if you want just a nice little feels good with that warm feeling Christmas time movie, then I think this movie's for you, and you should check it out. Thanks.
Anime of the month: Tokyo's Godfathers. What do I think of this movie? I think it sucks. Worst movie I've ever seen ever. I hate it. I'm just kidding. Well, I've never felt more teased by a movie, I will say that. I'm just going to throw a graph right here of a regular movie, how it goes like inciting incident down, and the movie's good. This movie, I found it was very plain, then it got really good, and then it stopped. The character development was great near the end. I didn't get to see anything of it. I was introduced to a bunch of characters. I got backstory that didn't get resolved. Do they all go home? Who knows? Do I want to know? Yes. Do they get to see? We didn't even get to see if they got to ask to be the Godfathers. We didn't get any resolution in the end. We just got a bunch of build-up, and then we were just left with nothing. There was nothing left. I've never stopped watching a movie and thought, wow, I just got teased for an hour and a half. There was nothing at the end that made me feel good. I don't know. It just wasn't. It was a good movie. I like the characters. I like the plot. I like the ideas. It was a really good movie. But I just needed like 20, 30 more minutes of movie because I don't know. I don't know. It just, I'm just at a loss for words. I don't know. It was good, but I needed more.
And thanks, Eddie and Troy, for that.
Thank you.
I have no idea what you said at this moment, but I'm sure you guys had opinions.
Hope you liked it. And
And-
without further ado,
On to the next anime.
the first anime of the month for January 2025 is Banana Fish.
Banana Fish.
Airing back from July 6, 2018 to December 21st, 2018, which would be summer and fall seasons of 2018.
Yeah.
We're looking at 24 episodes. Studio is MAPPA.
Mappa Studio.
MAPPA Studios. Genres: action, adventure, drama, and suspense. My anime list score is in at 8.46. And without further ado, here's the synopsis. Asian Jade Calanresi, known as Ash Lynx, was a runaway picked off the streets of New York and raised by the infamous godfather of the mafia, Dino Calzine.
Do you say Asian when I think it's Aslan?
Is it Aslan? Oh boy, yep.
Put on your glasses, Grinch. Aslan Jade Calanresi.
Known as Ash Lynx. We're gonna restart this. Whoopsie daisy. Aslan Jade Calanresi, known as the Ash Lynx, was a runaway picked off the streets of New York City and raised by the infamous godfather of the mafia, Dino Calzine.
Galzine,
Now 17 years old and the boss of his own gang, Ash begins
yeah.
investigating the mysterious banana fish. The same two words his older brother Griffin has murdered since his return from the Iraq War. However, his inquiries were hindered when Dino sends his men after Ash at an underground bar he uses as a hideout. At the bar, Skip, Ash's friend, introduces him to Shunichi Ibi. I'm butchering this so badly. And his assistant, Iji?
Yep.
Okumaru?
Okumaro.
Who are Japanese photographers reporting on American street gangs. However, their conversation is interrupted when Shorter Wong, one of Ash's allies, calls to warn him about Dino. Soon, Dino. Men storm the bar and is ensuing chaos, kidnapping Skip and IG. Now, Ash must find a way to rescue them and continue his investigation into Banana Fish. But will his history with the mafia prevent him from succeeding? Dun, dun, dun.
Basically, Matt can't wait to watch it so he can know how these names are said.
Pretty much. I don't
But,
know who
yeah,
made me
it's-
the designated
Reader?
version, but it's fine.
You read a lot.
It's true.
Sounds like you need to read out loud more.
Honestly, yeah, probably sometimes.
But yeah, 24 episode count, so it's a little on the longer side.
On the longer side. Starting 2025 out with a longer boy.
If you felt like you couldn't catch up with us previously in the year 2024, join us for 2025 as we have a Discord. It's in the link tree in the description down below.
Exactly.
You can join in. Just hit that you want to be part of the anime of the month. Boom shakalaka. You'll get the role, and you can join us in conversations about the anime. We highly, highly recommend you do so. And if not, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you guys think or what animes you want to see. If maybe
let us know what animes you want us to watch.
Because then, yeah, if you have more of opinions on it or you want to see what our opinion is on your favorite thing and then roast us about it,
Please do.
We're totally down. Just
Heck
let
yeah.
us know in the comments down below what you want us to watch, and we will do it.
Heck yeah. And until then, thank you so much for listening all of 2024. And yeah, we'll see you again in 2025. We're super excited to continue the Nerdy Misfit podcast. If you guys want us to do more themed fun episodes like this, where we're the Grinch and Santa and Grinch, let us know what you guys want to see from a video format. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever, thank you so much for listening throughout the year and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, just let us know what you guys want us to talk about. What do you guys want to hear from us, see from us, etc., etc. And stay tuned for next year and January 1st for our New Year's episode to hear more about what is coming down the pipeline of the Nerdy Misfit podcast and Nerdy Misfit Gaming in 2025. Thanks so much for Eddie and Troy for being featured on this episode as
and
well.
they'll be featured in the future episodes.
Future eps as well. And until then, Connor, anything else you want to say?
Merry Christmas.
Merry
and a
Christmas,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
And we'll see you next year. Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.